This is another sign of the times, an analysis, and a commentary. The former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev has said that the likelihood of nuclear weapons being used is growing by the day. Nuclear weapons are the backbone that holds the state together and are of fundamental importance for the existence of Russia. Medvedev, who was President Vladimir Putin's stand-in president between 2008 and 2012 and now serves as deputy head of Russia's Security Council, told an educational event. The former Russian president has issued nuclear threats frequently throughout Putin's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, which began last February. Putin himself said in a televised address to the nation in September 2022 that he'd be prepared to use nuclear weapons to defend Russian territory. Medvedev said that climate change is nothing compared to the prospect of a nuclear blast. Stop suffering because the temperature rose by 1 degree in such and such a year or over such and such a period. Humanity has been watching this for a very short time. Do you really care about the climate to such an extent? He said. Do you really care about the climate to such an extent? In my opinion, this is nothing compared to the prospect of being at the epicenter of an explosion with a temperature of 5,000 Kelvin scale, a shock wave of 350 meters per second, and a pressure of 3,000 kilograms per square meter, with penetrating radiation, that is, ionizing radiation, and an electromagnetic pulse, he said. He also said that the likelihood of nuclear weapons being used is growing at a rapid rate. Is there such a prospect today? Unfortunately, yes, and it is growing every day for well-known reasons. Defeat of a nuclear power in a conventional war may trigger a nuclear war, Medvedev said. And he added, nuclear powers have never lost major conflicts on which their fate depends. In July 2022, he also issued a stark warning after the International Criminal Court said it would probe alleged war crimes committed by Russian forces in Ukraine. The idea to punish a country that has the largest nuclear arsenal is absurd in and of itself and potentially creates a threat to the existence of mankind, the Russian former president also said. And he believes the modern world is sick and is quite likely that it is on the verge of a new world war. Is it inevitable? No, it is not, he added. A world war can be avoided, but I will not make forecasts. Forecasts are a thankless task. A former Russian diplomat told Newsweek in February that Putin's nuclear rhetoric has been a bluff, at least so far. If you're afraid of Putin using nukes, then you already lose the war against him and he wins, he added. If Putin threatens to use nukes, okay, threaten him back. Or so he says. This too is another sign of the end of times as we know them, transition times. And it's about extraordinary changes, happenings, and events. Because it's still about what kind of world are we leaving to the future generations. And that should be a very important question to ask. Revelation chapter 16. And I heard a loud voice out of the sanctuary say to the 7 angels, Go and pour out the 7 bowls of the anger of God on the earth. 2. The first one went off and poured out his bowl on the earth, and a hurtful and malignant ulcer afflicted the people who had the mark of the wild beast and who were worshipping its image. 3. The second one poured out his bowl into the sea, and it became blood like that of a dead man, and every living creature died, yes, the things in the sea. 4. The third one poured out his blood into the rivers and the springs of water, and they became as blood. 5. I heard the angel over the waters say, You, the one who is and who was, the loyal one, are righteous, for you have issued these judgments. 6. Because they poured out the blood of holy ones and of prophets, and you have given them blood to drink. They deserve it. 7. And I heard the altar say, Yes, Jehovah, God, the Almighty, true and righteous are your judgments. 8. The fourth one poured out his bowl on the sun, and to the sun it was granted to scorch the people with fire. 9. And the people were scorched by the great heat, but they blasphemed the name of God, who has the authority over these plagues, and they did not repent and give glory to him. 10. The fifth one poured out his bowl on the throne of the wild beast, and its kingdom or nation became darkened. They began to gnaw their tongues because of their pain. 11. But they blasphemed the God of heaven because of their pains and their ulcers, and they did not repent of their works. 12. The sixth one poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up, to prepare the way for the kings from the rising of the sun. Yes, it's time for the physical and spiritual manifestation of the book of Revelation. And all these are more signs.